Vrindavan was alive. The air buzzed with anticipation. Holi was here. For the Sharma family, it was more than just a festival. It was a celebration of their heritage, a tapestry of traditions woven into their lives.
Yay! Holi is finally here!
10-year-old Anaya skipped around the courtyard. Her laughter echoed as she helped her mother, Priya, arrange the colors. Crimson, emerald, sapphire, a rainbow waiting to be unleashed. Her grandfather, Arun, meticulously stacked the wood for the bonfire. The flames would symbolize the triumph of good over evil, the victory of faith.
Holi is a time for family, a time for stories.
Priya smiled, watching them. Holi was indeed a time for family. Her mother-in-law, Dadi, always had the most captivating tales passed down through generations, tales that sent shivers down your spine. This year, Dadi had promised to tell them about the Churl, a vengeful spirit that roamed Vrindavan. The flames crackled, casting dancing shadows on the faces gathered around. The air was thick with the scent of sandalwood and marigolds. Dadi, her silver hair shimmering in the firelight, began her tale.
The Churl is a spirit scorned, a woman wronged in life, seeking revenge in death.
Her eyes, reflecting the fire's glow, held a hint of warning. Anaya snuggled closer to her father, captivated but slightly afraid.
It is said that during Holi, the veil between worlds is thin. The Churl wanders among us, her anklets jingling, her eyes burning with rage.
The flames leaped higher, as if mirroring the mounting fear in Anaya's heart. The next day, Vrindavan was a riot of colors. Laughter filled the air, accompanied by the rhythmic beat of drums. Anaya, her face smeared with colors, ran through the streets with her friends. The joy of Holi was infectious. It washed away all worries, even the chilling tale of the Churel.
Catch me if you can!
But as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the town, a strange uneasiness crept into Anaya's heart. She felt a chill despite the warmth of the day. The wind seemed to whisper warnings, carrying a faint metallic scent. It reminded her of Dadi's stories that were now more real than ever. Seeking a moment of respite from the revelry, Anaya wandered towards the outskirts of the town. She found herself drawn to a towering banyan tree. Its ancient branches, heavy with age, seemed to beckon her. Sitting beneath its shade, she noticed a woman. She was draped in a white sari, her back towards Anaya. The woman was humming a melancholic tune. It was both eerie and strangely alluring.
Namaste.
Mustering her courage, Anaya approached the woman. The woman turned and Anaya gasped. Her face was ashen, her eyes hollow, and then, as quickly as she had appeared, the woman vanished. Anaya, shaken but determined, ran back toward the town. Her heart pounded in her chest, each step echoing the urgency she felt. The twilight sky painted a canvas of purples and oranges, but Anaya's mind was focused on one thing, reaching her family. She found her family preparing for the Holika Dahan, a ritual that marked the beginning of the Holi festival. The air was filled with the scent of wood and the chatter of excited voices. Her parents were busy arranging the pyre while her younger siblings gathered twigs and leaves. The bonfire, a symbol of hope and victory, blazed brightly, dispelling the shadows. It was a beacon of light in the encroaching darkness, a reminder of the triumph of good over evil. The flames danced and crackled, casting a warm glow on the faces of the gathered crowd.
Should I tell them about the woman under the banyan tree? Anaya wondered, her mind racing. The image of the mysterious woman with hollow eyes and a haunting melody played over and over in her head.
But the festive atmosphere, the laughter, and the joy around her made her doubt her own experience. The vibrant colors and the infectious energy of the festival seemed to push her fears to the back of her mind. Her brother Arav, 2 years her senior, noticed her silence. He had always been protective of her, and he could sense when something was amiss.
"What's wrong, Anaya?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. He had seen the worry in her eyes and knew that something was troubling her deeply.
He asked, concern etched on his face. His eyes searched hers for answers, hoping to understand what was bothering his little sister. Anaya shook her head, dismissing it as nothing. She didn't want to ruin the festive mood or worry her family with her strange encounter.
Just tired, she said, forcing a smile. The day's events had indeed been exhausting, but it was more than just physical fatigue that weighed on her.
She mumbled, clutching her brother's hand for reassurance. Arav squeezed her hand back, offering silent support. The celebration continued late into the night. People danced, sang, and threw colors, their spirits high and their hearts light. The night was alive with joy and camaraderie. As the flames died down, leaving behind glowing embers, the family returned home, their hearts full of joy and contentment. The streets were quiet now, the echoes of laughter fading into the night. But Anaya couldn't shake off the unsettling feeling that had taken root in her heart. The memory of the woman under the banyan tree lingered, a shadow that refused to be dispelled by the night's festivities. The woman under the banyan tree, her haunting melody and her hollow eyes, the images kept replaying in her mind. Anaya knew that this was not the end, but perhaps just the beginning of something she couldn't yet understand. Later that night, as the rest of the family slept soundly, Arav found himself wide awake, unable to drift into the comforting embrace of sleep. A strange restlessness had gripped him, making it impossible to lie still. His room felt unusually stuffy, the air thick and oppressive, the air heavy with a cloying sweetness that seemed to cling to his skin. He decided to step out onto the balcony, hoping the cool night air would bring some relief. The town was quiet, bathed in the soft glow of the moon, casting long shadows on the empty streets. The moonlight painted everything in a serene, almost ethereal light. The only sound was the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze and the distant barking of dogs, adding to the night's eerie tranquility.
The air is so heavy tonight, almost suffocating. I need to step outside for a bit, clear my head.
Araf leaned against the railing, feeling the cool metal under his palms, his gaze drawn to the street leading towards the old banyan tree, its silhouette stark against the night sky. It was the same path Anaya had taken earlier that evening, her figure now a distant memory. He was about to head back inside, thinking perhaps he could finally get some sleep, when he noticed a shadowy figure walking towards their house, moving with an eerie grace. It was a woman draped in white, her sari billowing softly in the night breeze, her anklets jingling with each step, creating a haunting melody in the silence. His heart pounded in his chest, a mix of fear and curiosity gripping him. He couldn't tear his eyes away, transfixed by the mysterious figure.
Who? Who is that? Why is she coming here? What does she want at this hour? The questions swirled in his mind, but no answers came.
As the figure moved closer, Arav's blood ran cold. It was the woman from Anaya's description. Her face, pale and gaunt, was frozen in a grotesque expression. Her eyes, wide and vacant, seemed to stare right through him.
Oh no, it can't be. It's her.
He wanted to scream, to run, but his body wouldn't obey. He was paralyzed with fear. The woman stopped at the foot of their house, her gaze fixed on Arav. The jingling of her anklets grew louder, the sound amplified in the stillness of the night. And then, just as abruptly as it had begun, the sound stopped. The woman was gone.
She's gone, but I saw her. I really saw her.
Arav stumbled back, his breath caught in his throat. He had come face to face with the churel. The next morning, Arav, his face pale and drawn, recounted his experience to his family. His eyes were wide with lingering terror, and his hands shook as he tried to convey the horror of what he had seen. His voice trembled as he spoke, the fear from the night before still fresh in his mind. Every word seemed to bring back the chilling memory, making him shiver uncontrollably.
I saw her, the churel. She was not just a figment of my imagination. She was right there, at the foot of our house. Her eyes glowed in the dark, and her presence was suffocating.
At first his parents dismissed it as a nightmare. They tried to comfort him, saying it was just a bad dream. But when Anaya corroborated his story, a sense of unease settled upon the family. The fear in her eyes mirrored Arav's, and it was clear that something had truly frightened them both.
It's true. I saw her too, just like Arav described. She was terrifying, and I felt like she was watching us. I saw her too, just like Arav described. Her figure was shadowy, but her eyes were unmistakable.
Dadi listened intently, her expression grave. She had heard stories of the churel before, but never had she thought it would come so close to her family.
We need to perform a cleansing ritual. This is the only way to protect ourselves from her malevolent spirit. The churel feeds on fear. If we let our fear grow, she will only become stronger. We must not give in to it. We have to stay strong and united.
The family gathered in the courtyard. The air was thick with tension, but there was also a sense of resolve. Incense sticks filled the air with a calming aroma. The smoke spiraled upwards, carrying their prayers to the heavens. Dadi led the prayers, her voice a soothing balm to their frayed nerves. She chanted ancient mantras, invoking protection and peace. As the ritual came to an end, a sense of peace descended upon them. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, replaced by a feeling of safety. The fear that had gripped them slowly dissipated, replaced by a quiet determination. They knew they had to stay vigilant, but for now they felt a sense of relief.
We are stronger together. As long as we stand united, we can face any challenge. We will not let fear control us. Together, we will overcome this.
The experience left an indelible mark on the Sharma family. It made them realize that some legends, passed down through generations, held a kernel of truth. Holi for them took on a deeper meaning. It wasn't just a celebration of colors and joy, but also a reminder of the unseen forces that existed in the world.
Holi feels different now. It's like we understand it better.
Yeah, it's more than just fun. It's about respecting what we can't see.
As the years passed, the memory of that Holi faded, but the lessons learned stayed with them. They learned to respect the old stories, to acknowledge the mysteries that lay beyond their understanding. And they learned that even in the face of fear, faith and family could provide the strongest shield.
We'll always remember that night, but we'll also remember how we faced it together.
And how we came out stronger on the other side.